Hi, so I'm back again with my mortar and pestle, and today I want to generate some black ink. So I've got a couple of different types of charcoal that I've gathered from two different locations, and it's just bush charcoal, if you like, just trees that have burnt in the bushfires. I've got also some coal that I've started to grind, which is just at the moment quite coarse, but it's pretty interesting and I want to have a go with that. But also on the charcoal front, I've got the original charcoal, the first charcoal that I made in my kiln, and I'm going to grind up a bit of that. So I think I might start with this and try the others at a later date. So my plan is to grind up the charcoal sticks in the mortar and pestle and then take it over to the mulling plate. So let's get going. I don't know if you can see that, but it's really coming down fine fairly quickly. So it's gone to a powder beautifully. Didn't take long at all. I'm going to decant this into another container and do a bit more. Okay, so I've got my charcoal powder. I've now got my muller set up with my mulling plate. I've got my note-taking book that I'll do a swatch of, a paintbrush. I think I'm just initially going to use some water to mull it up with. I may later put a bit of watercolor medium, and I've also got a couple of palette knives in the ready so we can scrape our material up. So I might just keep a bit of that back as a test lot, and I might do some other things with that later. Powder is very powdery. I really want a black ink that I can move around the page, and I don't even mind if it granulates or if it's a bit gritty in appearance, but I do want to also have some options. So you can see it is a bit gritty at the moment, so let's see what happens the more we grind it. What a great pattern. Okay, I just want to take a colour swatch to see what this granulation is like when it goes down onto the paper. So this is my test page. I really quite like that effect. I'm just going to try something different. It's a really nice black. So I want to see, in what ways we can move this colour around. So it's interesting, isn't it? When I hit the water, there was enough granulation to give me a splatter effect, which is kind of interesting. It's good texture. Okay, I think I'm going to stop and gather that up now and put that to one side. And then I'm going to come back with this little bit that I saved and make it into a watercolor paint, use the watercolor medium that I've got, and see what difference that makes. So that's the charcoal ink from the previous mulling. And what I want to do now is just use this tiny little bit that we've got here that I saved with a bit of watercolor medium and test it on my pad just to see what the difference is. So I'm just going to put a couple of drops of watercolor medium. Basically this is gum arabic with some water and a tiny little bit of glycerin, because I had glycerin left over from the biomaterials I was making. Let's just see how that goes. That's about 5 drops. It's matter to make it into a paste before you hit the mulling plate with some water. I feel like a hairdresser here. This is quite watery, so I'm wondering if maybe it will end up more charcoal colour than a dark grey rather than the black. I really am after a black. But it has smoothed out beautifully. Okay, let's have a look at how that looks on the page. It looks very similar, doesn't it? It's funny because looking at it on the mulling plate, it looks like it's lost a lot of its grittiness, but I can see that it's probably similar to the one that we did with just water. So that's our just water. And even though this is a tiny quantity, it is giving me a good dark black too. It does have a different finish, like whether or not that's because this is dried. It seems to have a texture, so I'll be interested to see how this one goes. I just want to put a blob up here. Let's just use the water to move it around. Ooh, I love that. Definitely covers. I couldn't get that effect with the water only, so that's interesting. Definitely travels with the greater intensity. I like that effect. Okay, I'm very happy with the charcoal. Okay, trap for young players. Remember that the powder is very powdery.